Another ending of Over the Garden Wall was to leave Wirt in the unknown and only Greg gets back. Here's how the story would go. The unknown, a place where lost stories would reside in. Wirt and Greg are brothers that happen to get lost in this place. Wirt and Greg started off to wander around the woods and eventually came across a town filled with pumpkins, a boat filled with frogs, a man in a mansion believing in a ghost, a girl and her aunt, a school, and they also met a talking bluebird named Beatrice. Now, a creature known as the Beast has taken Greg and concealed him in a tree stump. A man known as the Woodsman found Greg with the Beast using a lantern to light his way and went to go fight off the Beast with his axe, leaving his lantern where Greg was. Wirt and Beatrice walked towards the lantern and found Greg in the stump. Greg. Wirt ran over Yogi's little brother that was being consumed by the wood. Greg smiled and looked at Wirt. Wirt, I did it. I beat the Beast. Greg coughed up some leaves. Oh geez, the leaves are even growing inside of him. Beatrice said, no, I was just eating some leaves. I'm sorry, Wirt. No, Greg. Wirt started tearing up. It's my fault we ended up here. Everything's my fault. I should have been more. No, Wirt, I mean my rock. I stole it. What? I stole it from Mrs. Daniel's garden. I'm a stealer. Greg lifted up the rock, and that's a rock fact. What? No, Greg, that doesn't matter. It does matter, he said, then coughed up some more leaves. You have to return this for me, okay? No, you can give it to her yourself. Come on, we got to get Jason Thunderbreaker home. Right? The frog Greg had then gave a croak. Jason Thunderbreaker, the perfect frog name. Greg then closed his eyes and rested on the stump. Greg, come on, let's get him out of this, Beatrice said as she flew toward the stump. Yeah, Wirt said as he wiped his eyes and began removing branches from Greg. Yeah, as they removed the branches from Greg, the Woodsman fell in front of them, dropping his axe, making them gasp at the sight. Behind the Woodsman was the Beast standing there. Give me my lantern, he said as he held out his hand. No way, we need this lantern, Beatrice said as she flew toward the lantern. Yeah, I'm keeping this. I have to take Greg home. Your brother is too weak to go home. He will become a part of my forest. I won't let that happen! Wirt said as he held up the lantern. Well then, perhaps we better make a deal. Deal? I can put his spirit in the lantern, and as long as the flame stays lit, he will live on inside. Take on the task of the lantern bearer, or watch your brother perish. Wirt sighed and said, okay, Wirt. Wirt turned around to Beatrice. Hey, if I just leave him here he'll become a tree. Wirt walked over to the Beast holding the lantern. Beatrice called out Wirt's name again, but Wirt gave her a glare. Okay, Beast, put Greg's spirit in here. Wirt held up the lantern to the Beast. Oh, I will, but first you need to be the lantern bearer. Wait, what? I thought I already was. Not yet. The Beast put his hand out to Wirt. Wirt gasped as branches and leaves started to grow over his body. 2 branches grew from the sides of his head like the Beast's. Some branches grew around his arms and legs. Wirt closed his eyes and opened them, revealing the new eyes he had that resembled the Beast's eye colors. His pupils became red as the rest of his eyes turned to yellow, white, and blue. Now you are the lantern bearer. Wirt stumbled around a little bit, being dizzy from his transformation. The Beast snapped his fingers and a wisp of white came from Greg's body into the lantern. Keep the lantern lit. That was the last thing the Beast said before he disappeared into the shadows. The Woodsman got up and looked at Wirt. He gasped at the sight of the new version of him and picked up his axe. Wirt turned around to the Woodsman and opened his mouth, about to say something, but the Woodsman backed away and ran in fear. Wirt turned to Beatrice and she looked at him in fear and disappointment and flew away. He was then alone in the little circle with Greg's body being consumed by the wood. He looked into the lantern and whispered, don't worry, Greg.